Okay, so we looked at those, and then now, okay, I can get off all these.
Pedos Down Under.
Yeah.
That's Fiona Barnett.
Check this one out. Look. Tells court Illuminati caused my breakdown. So this is the dude that ran over a whole bunch of people in the streets in Sydney.
Oh, right.
Bro,
No, I thought it was Melbourne. Was it Melbourne or Sydney?
No, yeah, Melbourne's Burke Street. Yeah, you're right, it was Melbourne. But he goes, yeah, it was because of the Illuminati. I'm very sad and everything that's happened, but it's due to the Illuminati.
So he went postal.
Well, they drove him...
Lost his marbles.
No, they drove him postal.
Does he say how?
Probably voice to mind, voice to skull, direct neural monitoring, astral projection, artificial telepathy.
Okay, is this a different one? A different testimony?
It's 50 seconds long, so it's probably just like a clip of him.
Got
Don't worry about that here. We're moving on. We're moving on. There's this dude going off as a nut at Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have gotten rid of those. Oops.
Can you undo?
No. But we're on this subject, so we're going to stay on this subject. I've got it all saved anyway. Okay, so there's Anarchy Lucas and Alondro Markman, which both happened to them. And then that was in New York. There's this Zachary King. Oh. Give me one more time. Oh, bro. Okay. Gloria Masters. Like, it just goes to show you how many there are. Okay, John Wedger. This is probably getting it to where we want to go. Jeanette Archer. Fucking don't do your hands like this. Look at this though. This is how you know. This is how you know why not to trust them. Because look at what we're looking at. Why do you think we are?
Oh, okay, right. Gotcha.
Okay. I just need a new tab. Bro, John Wedger's done so many interviews with people, like... It's a ridiculous amount.
He's not letting it go.
No.
True soldier.
Australia is a great place to start with this stuff too, like, because there's just so much. So many pedos in Australia, it's ridiculous.
It's a pedo haven.
Yeah, okay, this is like one of the first ones that got uploaded to. How many years ago was this? 9 years ago, dude. 9 years ago, Mum.
And again, my body's nobody's.
Oh god, bro. Rotten hell.
Radio
Yeah,
podcast.
bro,
My
rotten
name's
hell,
Steve
Rolf
Murray,
Harris.
and I'm with Fiona Barnett. And this is a new podcast that we're starting together. Fiona, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Pedos Down Under and Pedos Down Under Radio and what it's all about?
Straight to the video.
Because I know it.
So that's unfortunate that we chose that as our name.
Yeah, well, that's your name.
Anyway, we better tell everyone. We better tell everyone what his name is.
Hang on.
I haven't introduced
Yeah, I'll get there. Plus, P-U-S. Pedophiles under stress when they're alive. And as for my old man and all his mates, pedophiles under surface. Pus, dead or alive.
That's what he likes. So everyone, this is Tim Roy.
Yeah.
Tim's the author of 2 books. One is Little Tim, Big Tim, and the other one is Switch Me Off. Now, Little Tim, Big Tim.
No, verbal.
Oh, verbal. Yeah, okay. Well, Little Tim, Big Tim is about Tim's experience of a VIP pedophile ring in Sydney. It's the same ring that abused me. And his experience of ritual abuse also at the hands of some big names. And then the other book, Switch Me Off, is about Tim's experiences serving in the Australian SAS. And do you want to just tell people, because there will be people from England and America who don't know what that Special Forces branch is. So.
All right. I'm very well aware that the latest SAS itself, put in a search, can bring up my stuff. So I don't label it as the SAS. In Australia, for those people who want to know what I'm talking about, I refer to it, the lads in the West, myself in the West, or the West. West Australia being understanding what West is. And that allows myself not to feel like I'm engaging men who've done their time for their country to actually be pulled into this sort of stuff, because I'm not being smart enough not to make sure that searchers don't go looking for them in this comment. So I don't use it. And I talk to all my friends. I was in the West. Over in the West, we did this. And I'll leave it at that.
And the SAS is one of the most elite military units in Australia, like it is overseas. And I mean, anyone who serves in that, in my opinion, is an Australian hero. They give up so much to the country. They are one of the best defences we have, and no one can argue with that. So that's really amazing. That's a real success of yours, Tim.
Yeah, I also think that because we live with what I will say, pus in charge, we have an incompetence now between the military and the army. That's why the cafe that went off in Sydney was rubbish.
Oh, the Link Cafe siege. I had a chat. I've got a friend who was in that siege, and I know some of the inside information about that siege, and it was just disgusting. I mean, I kept on saying when I saw it, I knew someone was dead the moment they went in there and started. How many rounds of bullets just like, you know?
It was like watching a bunch of kids heading up at the firing range with live rounds.
Yeah.
It's like watching that chick in the shopping centre, pulling her gun to save herself and injuring 3 people with ricochets.
Yeah.
They don't know how to use them, don't give it to them.
No, the police are notoriously bad shots because they're not taught. They
don't have enough
when
training.
they shoot. They haven't had the training from the beginning.
No, you'd have to put police on 12-hour shifts to actually get a competent police force. Because then that third shift can go to training. And we can actually feel safe if they actually do draw their weapons. But presently, they, and I will put this down to the rabbit, Mr. Rabbit with the ears, who used to be top of the bunny pile with all his bunnies. Well, he was very much a staunch, anti-terrorist, no boats nonsense, all that sort of thing, right? But he neglected to tell the future Prime Minister that he's actually allowed to pass the emergency action, which happened at the cafe, the Link Cafe. He's actually allowed to pass that information and responsibility to the military. So we have a Liberal Party that is actually hiding information from each other and getting Australians killed.
Because they could have called the SAS and taken that guy out in 5 minutes. They had a clear shot through the window. And it's not like chocolate cafes routinely put up bulletproof glass. So...
Yeah, they could have shot right through that real easily. And
the boys had done 6 hours rehearsals and not got used. And then when we do rehearsals, we do it. It's just go until you get on the chopper to go do the job. But this is no call. And this is what the Australian public needs to know. You're allowed to call your military to save your civilians. And I can say that, Steve, because I created a bloody fiasco when I came out and told them they were training with automatic weapons over in the West. That's what caused the actual, the conspiracy I own today was trying to cover that up. I'm the only man in Australia has a conspiracy and tells people about it.
So, Tim, why don't you tell people, just because there are people who haven't read your book and there are people who need just a very basic background. So why don't you tell them just a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up, and then we'll go into your VIP abusers and your experiences of ritual abuse in Sydney.
Yeah,
Derek.
What I want to do is basically, I've got the book, Little Tim, Big Tim. That is, evidential reference, I feel. No problems there. I've got the statement from the police. They actually believe me. Like, I was bounced from the Royal Commission to the police. Spent 4 days over 2 years telling the story about VIPs. Right. So presently, I'd like to just keep those things in house, and let's just work on that little area there, because my life has gone
Too many stories.
exactly, and I don't want to overwhelm people and get them thinking, well, what's she worried about? He's had a great life.
Yeah, we can always do another show. So start with, the basics, the beginning.
All right, but the best way to explain how to deal with these when you have mental health issues is that the police want you to come from the younger age forward, right? And when that happened to me, that all
Search
And
at
the
all.
stuff- and
You've
the
never
stuff
seen this stuff
movies.
before. You've never seen this before, have you? So, where's Fiona? Okay. This is just in her doco. But okay, so like with all of these, where's the one with Darren, bro? So John Wedger, this one. This guy in the UK, Darren, he was a rent boy for all the UK MPs, and it's just an interesting thing of them saying it's the same as what Lawrence probably says in this interview with Fiona here. So this one with Lawrence, he says Bill Shorten, all of them, they were all ran as rent boys. Like, they would take them to Parliament, like they would take them to all their Parliament House. Like,
Here he is. That's the Prime
you know how the
Minister.
Prime Minister has a
That's
house?
the
You know
little boy.
how there is a house for the Prime Minister to live in, and it's like that's their house. Like, they took us when we were kids to Canberra, like on excursion. Like, you go see all those places. They were trafficked to those places, like, and that's what happened to this guy Lawrence. And then check it, like, if you've never seen this, bro, you've definitely watched. Have you seen the Candy Girl documentary? Where is it? I've got it somewhere up here. I'm gonna have to get it on. I'm just gonna do a search it.
What are we doing? We need to stay on one thing.
No, this is all the one subject. Like,
Yeah,
we're
but
not
just
talking
stay
about.
on one.
But this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're not talking about 9/11. What are we talking about,
Okay, so people can just watch the videos that we're highlighting.
bro? These are all on
themselves.
YouTube. Yes, you can't. They can't censor us when this is already on here. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can live stream this because this is already on YouTube. So, I think it's in part 2. I'm gonna go both of them, like, just one at a time. So, just straight to the bits. So that guy that was in Mad Max, guy from Mad Max 2,
I was made to lie down on the altar, and Bruce Spence raped me on the altar. That was that part of the ritual. So I'm, 15, turning 16 at this time. And this was all happening during the time of the Bathurst City races. So the massive crowds here are disguised by the thousands and thousands of people and dignitaries and politicians that pour into Bathurst during the races. On stage are Bruce Spence, who's a crap actor. He's been in Dimboola and Mad Max. There's Richie Beno, our Australian sporting legend who was captain of the Australian cricket team. He's dead now. There's John Avery, Police Commissioner, New South Wales Police Commissioner at the time, John Avery. There's Kim Beazley Senior. And then there's an obese, red-headed woman who had long red hair. You know, there was a microphone here like this sort of thing, and Beazley's the main one, but it alternated between Benno and Beazley. But they had a real wry sort of manner about them, and they spoke they had a similar demeanour, and just mocking humanity. And so Beazley was up commentating, presiding over things.
when they dragged onto stage, they dragged a heavily pregnant woman onto stage here, and she was screaming her head off. And I remember sitting over there thinking, oh my God, she's not drugged, she's not hypnotised. And it was horrendous. So there's adrenaline going through her system and adrenaline going through her body, and she's heavily, heavily pregnant and naked, and she had a brown bowler haircut. And she's one of what they call a breeder, and she's used just for breeding for these rituals and for child sex trafficking. And they drag her onto the stage and they lay her down, and the head for a sacrifice is always here, so they're and the feet's that end. Where she's screaming, right, Beasley's over here, and he goes to us, I'll never forget this, he goes, she's screaming and making a fuss, and he goes, excuse us for a minute. And everyone laughs. Everyone thinks that's hilarious, except for me. And then they've got, because they had two big security guards dragging her onto stage, and they needed extra help, so Bruce Spence, who is like usually the thug type who likes to hurt people, Bruce Spence and John Avery, the cop, he used what he knows about holding people down, and the four of them pin her down. And they're holding her legs and her arms and whatever, shoulders. And then Benno has a ceremonial dagger, and he's like, it's further back. It's a shame this is here because he's further back, and he does his usual crap. You know, they worship their gods, you know, Baal, Lucifer, Hail Satan, Son of the Morning, and all the other gods and goddesses, you know. And then he has this knife, and he slams it after he's done all his ritualistic sort of chanting and words and whatever, and people are chanting and whatever, and he slams this dagger, ceremonial dagger, 2 hands, into the woman's, I don't know, around about here where the bone ends, and he can get in, and he tears her open with the knife right down to the pelvic bone, and blood just pisses out everywhere. It's like a, waterfall and just everything. And then they pull the baby out, and then there are people assisting, and they've got a gold platter, and they've got a chalice, and they collect the blood of the baby. They drain the baby's blood in the chalice, and then they chop the baby up and put it on the gold platter, and then they pass it around for Holy Communion. So it's the black mass, the real typical old-fashioned black mass that the Catholic mass is based on, right? The Catholic mass the Latin mass is a sanitised version of this. There's nothing Christian about Catholic mass. So that's all going on, and then the next thing I remember is they lined up, this stage was lined with children who must have been about maybe 8, 9, 10 years of age, that sort of thing. And they had them lined up like this on the stage. They went like this, they lined the children up, and the children were hypnotised, and the children came forward and they were like this. They were just like this. They just, as they were told, they did nothing, and they just stared straight ahead. And they're very attractive children. Bruce Spence had a samurai sword. It was incredibly sharp. He goes along each child, and he has a certain stance about him. Is it that way? Or is it that way? and he slices off the heads of each child. I don't know if he turns or I can't remember what he does, but then he, goes along and, like this, and he goes along and chops off each head. And each kid falls, the body just falls, and blood is going everywhere. I mean, if you DNA tested this area, there would have to be remains of someone's blood and DNA in here. There'd have to be somewhere. Then they break out into a bloodied orgy. Now, these people, the whole point behind doing the, having the woman not drugged and not hypnotised is to pump as much adrenaline through her blood as possible, because these people are addicted to adrenaline, and when they drink the blood, it's the baby's blood. The baby's in distress, so it passes on somehow to the kid, and that's why they have this sort of situation going on. And at the end, I was over here, and a bloody orgy broke out and everyone started having sex. They're sexually aroused by this stuff. You've got to understand that they are sexually aroused by this crap. I don't know, everyone's just having sex with people, and Kim Beasley Senior was down here and I was there, and he came down and he picked up a head of one of the kids that had dark hair, and I'm standing here, and Beasley picks up this head and he shoves it in my face like this, and there's this decapitated head in my face, and he says, "Take ye, eat." And he made me take a bite out of the face. And then everyone just had an orgy. It was just disgusting. And the most vile thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's Bathurst City Hall.
3 times I've had to flee.
And we'll get all our friends around us.
Therapy and help and all the rest of it. I mean, I went to a therapist once. My girlfriend said, to me, Deb, you need tools to cope with this, because there was days that I was ripping my hair out and crying and whatever. And she said, look, because I was so upset with what was going on, especially with the attempts on my kids' lives, Yeah. She said, well, you need to go and see someone, get some counselling, and, we'll give you the tools to help you cope. I went to this counsellor and psychologist. I'm talking to her, within 10 minutes, she was crying her eyes out. And I'm going, what?
Yeah.
And she said, I can't help you, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
And so she was mirroring what I should have been feeling, and I'm looking at going, well, hello, I can't get some tools. You can't even hear it, let alone deal with it. How do you feel? How do you think I feel living it?
Yeah. People just don't understand until they've lived it themselves. It's very surreal, and it sounds like something out of a movie, a Hollywood movie.
Yeah. Well, also the other thing was the docs officers involved. One in particular, her name was Isabel Duncan. Now, she worked out of the Strathfield office in Sydney. Now, she went to great lengths to discredit me. So, in the end, her sitting there laughing and smirking, I have no doubt that she was a damage control agent or involved with them.
Oh, yeah. You know them when they start smirking at you.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lay down and die.
But also, it's what you said to me. You're not actually a victim yourself. You were a strong, average, normal person before all of this.
Yeah.
All right, take a second. Thoughts?
If they're in power, they're one of them. That's what I keep coming back to. If they've got power, position, and fame, they're one of them. Because they don't let anyone in the club who isn't.
Just looking at these back to back, right? So Tim Rory's going to say it was all people in government. He took it to court and they gave him compensation. Like they compensated him like for damages and stuff, but no one gets properly convicted. This one with Lawrence, I think this one's probably one of the better ones to start with too, actually. So like Deborah, get rid of this for a second. No,
Okay, so here's Kim Beazley Senior, who made Fiona eat part of the face of a child that had been decapitated.
So we're looking where Deborah's one is basically just on Hillsong. How docs were trying to kidnap kids out of Hillsong kids. Like they were going fighting families. If they could find any excuse to say that you're a negligent parent, like maybe you live in a townhouse or something, they're gonna victimize you because you're an easy target. And
like Adrian said, they'll just pick a family.
But that's just to say, so like why we're going through these 5 here is because these are all very closely related. I think these
Australian testimonies.
Yeah, so this one, Lawrence, and then these two by John Wedger. So like this, this one with Fiona and Lawrence, and then these two with John Wedger and Darren, and I forget this dude's name. He passed away recently, this guy. He'll say his name.
Oh, right. Right. Hello, going live. My name is John Wedger, and
but these are
is
all
one of
Rent Boys.
many,
This is why I'm showing these
videos.
all together, because there's Rent Boys in Australian Parliament, and there's Rent Boys in UK Parliament. There's Rent Boys probably in the White House. Like
I've put out, and it really is to sort of highlight the child abuse, stroke child prostitution cover-ups that have been going on for decades in this country, and are still being covered up by the system. Now, I want to start by saying that I've come under a little bit of an attack recently by people getting the hump with me. Oh, thank you, Michael, to me little faggot. Sort of saying I shouldn't be using the term child prostitution. Now, I was in the police.
Yeah, no, and rest in peace. This guy passed away. You can tell just from like the way that they talk about it. Like, this is what I'm saying. Believe them or not, these guys look fucking damaged, bro. And it's like, bro, I don't think, even in my wildest dreams, even if I was down and out as much as you can be down and out, I don't see every meth head saying that this happened to them. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone down and out and homeless is going to go on record and say I was raped by these people. Do you know what I mean?
And you don't say that kind of stuff unless it has happened to you. Do you know what I mean?
And taking it to court.
Like, it's not like he's doing it to get famous on TikTok.
Dude, Tim Roy took it to court and got compensation for what happened to him. And it's like they're not giving you you're not taking the claims to court.
Tim Roy that guy that you just showed?
The guy with Fiona right here, and this is why I'm saying them all back to back.
So this guy?
This guy,
he
Tim
got
Roy, was a rent boy, and he got compensation because he was gang raped by MPs in fucking the Masonic Lodge.
If he got compensation, then why weren't those people convicted?
Because they control the system.
The legal system.
It's the
How
just
can
us
he get
system.
Compensation without them
Because just
prosecuting.
shut up. Go shut up and live in Bali.
So how
we'll
did
pay
he get
for everything.
How did he get compensation?
'Cause
Not legally.
No, legally.
He got hush money.
Yeah, from the government, from the just us system, from the judges.
Why weren't they prosecuted?
Because
like seriously.
no, we've given you money. You don't need to prosecute anyone. It's like
we'll
Michael
give you
Jackson.
Because you're a victim, but we won't investigate the crimes
It's like
you're
Michael.
alleging,
Yes.
and we won't put the
Yes.
perps in jail.
What do you think Michael Jackson did? They pay the parents.
No, but the government is paying him.
Yeah.
Not Michael Jackson.
No, but where do you think all that money comes from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Where do you
but
think
if there's a process and he's taken them to court, then the next step is they
all right.
prosecute the perps.
Okay, we'll start with this one since you
I won't the energy.
Yeah.
Right? So the FMs was my father's social group. Right? Now I was taken down there from the ages of 5 to 10 into certain lodges and houses. What I told the police, the house on the North Shore had red concrete and white pillars. Remember that before going in, and it's always been in my head. Now I know what happened when I went in there. I put it in my book. It's in the first part of my book. To the left, downstairs, and this room with people dressed in black and someone shoved an onion in my mouth. Right? Prior to that, they give you a sweetie. That sweetie's always been laced with LSD back in those days. So, as a child of 5, here I am, smashed off my head on LSD, going through a rape ritual and having no idea when I came out of it because someone's hypnotising me or conditioning me behind that. Now, to give this any validity of what I've been saying, when I was growing up, I found my father's embroidered apron, right? And got a flogging for that. I get a flogging all the time. That's how I got hard. All right, so I got a flogging for that, and it stuck with me, right? So the next time, he actually delved into an insane abuse situation. I threw this back at him. I said, "You're a fucking Freemason." Now, where that came from, I've got no fucking idea. But it worked. He stopped. He was scared of me until he got me down to the lodge to get reprogrammed. But he was scared of me. The club was scared of me because here I am.
No. It's just because,
caption?
look, no, and I get it. Like, I get it. Like, it's... Yeah, so he is... He's got some sort of speech...
He took me down the club.
Yeah, and he's got a bit of a speech impediment thing going on. The thing is, I know... I've watched this before fully...
He was scared of me until he took me down the club.
I've watched this...
And got me re-brainwashed.
Maybe 2, 3 or 4 times. I've watched all of these multiple times, dude. So, like...
And why is this guy watching?
This dude's doing the interview.
He's got his own testimony?
No. There's so many podcasters that research this, and we'll talk to Fiona, we'll talk to all these people.
And she'll just retell her testimony.
But they'll ask new questions that maybe they want answers for that maybe they didn't address before. So I can summarize.
So this guy's got both of them.
The thing is, I can summarize this whole thing. I know where the bits are too. Like that, you can see that they're putting up photo references for when the court case and stuff. Like when they start talking about the court cases. But basically, I'm not going to summarize it because it's better to let them talk. But what he just said was his MK Ultra memory repression didn't work. He was saying in public, Freemasons are fucked. Like, and people were freaking out around him, being like, how does he remember? Like his dad being like, how the fuck does he remember that we took him to the lodge? Like we drugged him and like hypnotized him so that he wouldn't remember. We've got to get him back down there reprogrammed so that he can't again. But the thing is, like, that is probably what started all this, because maybe all of his friends that were with him that were also getting trafficked through camps and stuff, like it would be through a youth camp kind of deal. It's like you go down as your little boy scout group. Do you know what I mean? You're in your little scouts or your little youth group, and then all of a sudden you're on a bus going to God knows where, and you don't even know how you got there. You're on drugs, and then all of a sudden you wake up back in your house and your bum's sore. Like, and bro, like, this is the level. Like, so that, but he knew as a 5 to 8-year-old that the Freemasons are cooked, and going around saying it, and that's why it's like.
So the first time it happened, he was 5.
And that's how young they get them too, bro. They would get earlier. Like they don't. There's no they don't have rules. You know what I mean?
Well, some of those Jewish cults have
in the Talmud and stuff. Yeah, I know.
Can rape children from the age
and
of 3.
in Islam, it's like he married her when she was 6 and inseminated her when she was 9, and like it's like, dude. But I'm gonna put it to you like this: like I think they've cooked all the holy books really massively, because even the Bible's not clear cut on it. It's not good. like for
Should we
for like you think we
continue?
just as a society I think we have an unconscious understanding like, hey, the age of consent is like it should be 18. You know what I mean? And like anything before that is whack. Like, what are you doing? Unless you're a kid with another kid, like not even a kid. If there's two teenagers in love at 16 and they do shit like behind closed doors, that's their business. But an adult and someone under the age of 18, that's pedo shit. And
Well,
anything
let's not
under
get
that.
into the legalistic side of things. Let's just watch.
But no, I think for years as a collective unconscious.
Let's not go down that road because you'll have people writing in saying, "What if this situation is this situation?"
No, but what I'm saying is in the ancient world, like we think it's not okay now. When was it ever okay? It's never has been. You could have written it in the Ten Commandments. Hey, age of consent.
A lot of places, as soon as you've got your period, you can get married.
But that's cooked. Which places? That's not in the collective
A lot
unconscious.
Of the ancient
Yeah, does that make it okay? Did we
I'm not
consent?
putting in any opinions.
Is that in the
and
public
I'm not discussing
consensus? Yeah, that's the problem though. That's the problem. We should have discussed it 2,000 years ago, let alone today.
We're not going to solve this one, Liam.
We really already have. Everyone already knows if you're trying to get around anyone.
If we want to get around it, 14-year-olds shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, and Trump shouldn't be in photos as a 30-year-old man hanging around 15-year-olds.
Mentally.
So do you have a problem with 30-year-old men hanging around 15-year-olds?
But what I'm trying to say is...
You do or do you not have a problem with it? Why is it wrong?
Explanation of two 16-year-olds being okay. Like, what I'm trying to say is, it's all a matter of opinion.
No, it's not. It is not fucking subjective. And I would have 2,000 years ago, I would have carved it into stone. Don't mess with people. Like, don't mess with kids.
Age.
No, but
so
even then, no.
Liam Berry puts an age on it.
And no, and it's the age difference too. Because if you're a teenager, it's not. But if you're 40, what are you hanging around a 15-year-old for? Fuck off. Go find someone your own age. Do you know what I mean?
You can be a 15-year-old rapist just the same.
Yeah, nah. That's statutory though. Like what conditions? Like how badly can a 15-year-old really rape someone?
My friend was in a...
Oh, you can get molested by... Yeah. It can be non-consensual, yeah.
She was under 12 and he was maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And he came into her room and apparently was doing it to a lot of the kids.
They can't convict that kid though. They can put him in juvie and stuff.
This isn't something I want to talk about.
Then why are we even watching these videos? You don't have the guts. I don't think you're ready for it.
11, 12, just telling everybody Freemasons are fucked.
You saying we shouldn't solve for the legal age of consent? Yeah, we really should have. We should have done that like 5,000 years ago.
We haven't. What's so?
No. I think
the legal age.
That's what I'm saying. I think they did. No.
I don't even know.
It doesn't matter about the legal age of consent. It's just saying I would have, if I was God writing my biography, writing down the laws to give to people, like if I was creating the law for the first time, when did they first start writing laws in human history? Think about the first legal, like when they were deciding murder is wrong, right? They couldn't decide that pedophilia was wrong. When they first created the first laws. No, I don't care. That's not what it's about. Because they say it says thou shalt not kill, but the original translation is thou shalt not murder. Because
How do
murder
you
is
know?
more specific than kill. People kill
Well,
animals all
what
the
was
time.
gonna
They don't
happen
murder
when
people in
Cain
cold
kills
blood.
his brother?
But that was
What was
murder
his
in cold
puni-
blood.
what was
That
his
wasn't
punishment?
that wasn't justifiable homicide.
Who, you know, who went and brought him before a
Well, who did he
court of
marry?
law
The Bible
and-
doesn't tell us.
who brought him before a court
Yeah,
of
see now
law
you're
and
telling me that
trialed
you're
him?
telling me that the Bible's shit. It's a bunch of bullshit.
No, I'm just saying that's what you say.
No, you're just saying that. You just said
No,
who brought
you say that.
Cain to trial.
You say it can't be trusted.
Well, who was his wife?
What's written in there
Yeah, no,
can't
no.
be trusted.
Who does it say he married?
So,
Who does it say he married? And where did that person come from? It doesn't say, does it?
so who's to say thou shalt not murder?
Well, they couldn't say that pedophilia
So
was
what we're
wrong.
getting
So
into
that's why I think the
now
Bible's just
is
fucking bullshit.
Morals.
No, but you were saying
What your morals are based
no,
on.
but you were
So-
saying
and now we're
you were
bringing
saying the Jewish
Bible
cults.
into it.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
you really want to
But
do
you
this?
saying
I don't.
you saying that the Jewish cults and the it's like
I don't want
the
to bring the Bible
the
into it.
Talmudic Jews are bad for saying that pedophilia is okay, but so does the Bible. The Bible doesn't say it's wrong. Why doesn't it say it's wrong?
I just wanted to
Because they didn't have value.
be
The Bible's never had
exposing
good values.
pedophiles down under. I'm happy to do that.
And I'm saying
What I'm not happy to do
Catholics
is get
feel
into theological
yeah, but that's why
debates
Catholics.
about
That's
the
why.
Bible.
That's why Frank Houston was a pedo because he's like, look, it's okay. The Bible doesn't say it's wrong. That's their justification. And me, 5,000 years ago, would have still written down this is fucked. The changing it like the difference in time, like back then they knew it was wrong to commit adultery, but they didn't know it was wrong to be pedos. They couldn't write that down as a law. They're writing laws down like you shouldn't murder, you shouldn't steal, but they couldn't write down don't have sex with kids. That was off the table writing that down.
Well, they weren't just having sex with kids, according to that guy we watched last night. They were chopping them up and smearing
Eating them,
themselves
yeah, and
with
you
the
wonder why they
blood.
would take that out.
And so
It's like
you
what we
know,
just
there-
watched.
There's nothing that was written down that stopped anyone doing evil.
No, but this is what I'm
Like
saying.
you could have written a million laws.
You have to be intellectually
down on
honest.
tablets.
This is why I'm saying.
Doesn't mean that
no,
evil people are going to listen
but
to
you
it.
didn't think that they ever did, because the ancient Egyptians used to write it out. They would say, "Did not commit sexual violence, didn't rape," but the Bible couldn't
Did
write
it
it down.
say didn't eat children and smear the blood all
Yeah,
over
probably. It
themselves?
probably got that deep, dude. And this is why I'm
Well,
saying.
we don't know though, do we?
Except you know that these people's testimony is they're adrenochrome harvesting people's babies, right? You don't think so? That's a new thing in history. Like we just came up with that in the last 100 years.
No,
Adrenochrome.
because we just watched a movie last night, a video where the guy explains in the book of Jasher
Which isn't in the
that
Bible. Do you see?
the
Okay.
pharaohs of ancient
We're
Egypt
adrenochrome harvesting children,
were
300 children.
taking the blood of children and doing something
In
with
yes, in Jasher
it.
76.
Whether they were smearing it on his body or drinking the
Yes,
blood. Or
all of the
eating
above.
baby.
No. They said
We don't
they
know.
said they were putting the children's blood into his wounds. That's
Right.
adrenochrome harvesting enough. Like whether or not he ate it is kind of besides the point. They were putting children's
and then
blood
they
in their wounds.
showed Burns getting blood transfusion from Bart Simpson.
Yeah, and it's also people joke
and
about
then
it.
getting revived.
Yeah, and people joke about it when they go in for the like those IVs, the anti-hangover IVs, those really expensive hospital treatments. That they're actually doing that they're getting children's blood plasma put into them for like 20 grand a pop. Now this is why I'm saying because it's not a new concept, because it's definitely an ancient concept. Do you trust? Like I'm not saying to throw out the whole thing. But I'm just saying it's become less trustworthy when there's historical sources that can tell us this stuff was happening and that people thought it was wrong historically, but biblically they
Where
can't
does it
say that.
People thought it was wrong.
Historically, the historical Paul is better than the biblical one. Paul went to the temple of Dionysus and Aphrodite, saw them having little boy orgies and having child sex slaves and said, you can't do this, this is wrong. But in the Bible, all that context has been removed. Why?
So where is it that you've read it?
Historically.
Yeah.
It's in, like, I don't know if it's in Josephus or things like that, but it's in old, like, historical documents. It's
so you're
in
saying
writings
they've
at the
taken
time.
out vital information from the Bible.
Is that a new revelation to you? Like, are you a student of history at all, or just the Bible?
What I'm trying to say is that what this whole video is going to be
No,
about?
no. But I'm just saying this is why you can't. It's like the thing is with the churches doing it. Where does it say? There was one comment I literally just read. It was probably on BitChute, but it was basically saying like we're gonna have to burn some of these churches to the ground if they've got child porn rings in them. Do you know what I mean? And we're going to have to actually analyze the Bible. It's like what Cliff High says. It's like you're going to actually have to look at the book and see if this lines up with the current paradigm we're living in, where people know adrenochrome harvesting up front. Do you know what I mean? Like, if people in 2025, if the biggest, like, issue in the world is adrenochrome harvesting, and it's not a new thing, why was it never addressed in the Bible even one time? Ask yourself.
Taken it out.
Yeah, and do you think that the real God of the universe controlling everything, would let that get taken out of his book if he's so perfect? And the word is so perfect? This is what I'm saying, dude. I think Jesus could have been way more revolutionary than we've been told that he is, and he was probably blowing the whistle on way more than we think he was, and they've completely changed the context. Like, what were they using the kids' foreskins for? We know now. Sandra Bullock gets it injected into her cheeks. Like, but back then they weren't, like, it wasn't documented. Yeah, it was, dude. It was documented, and it's just we're not looking at the right documents. We've been given the cooked books, thinking that it's all correct and we know, but we don't know shit, and we haven't researched shit.
It might explain why they had to string him up and crucify him.
Yeah, get him to shut up about the adrenochrome harvesting. Yeah, and he goes, "No, you keep whistleblowing. You're going to come back to life even if they kill you." You know what I mean? But I think a lot of it, like, it's like the difference between him saying turn the other cheek, and then him saying, if you don't own a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. I've come not to bring peace but a sword. Let's kill all the pedos. Because I bet you that's what he was saying, dude. I bet you there's a lot. Every sin can be forgiven unto man, except fucking pedophilia. You can go to damages and go to claims in court. If you stole something, you can make reparations for that thing. You know what you can't give back? Someone's childhood innocence.
Or their life.
Yeah, or their life after you've drank their blood. Like, this is why it's like, bro, like...
In public.
You're before your time.
And then I, down there to get brainwashed. Oh, I forgot again. Yeah. You know, and that's how they've actually managed their own safety and protection. Now, when I found the diaries was 99. Now, I can give a heads up to the poor old Freemasons out there who think they're actually in for a long time if they've joined up in the last 15 years. They're not. They've actually been designed to keep an eye on people like Fiona and myself. They'll cross our paths. We'll meet you. But if we met you and you haven't got anything to take back to them, you're not protected by them. So that's what I've got to get through to the inside. You know, I do believe that people haven't gone to this level.
Oh yeah.
Within the FMs, I do believe. Strange, but I do. And I believe that those people need to be sort of a little bit nurtured. Once again, you know, responsibility of a human being. A little bit nurtured to understand that it's your club. You remove the pass, you move pass 1, 2, and 3 out of your club, then everything's going to go back to normal. Yeah. You know, unless you've been a pedophile, and then you deserve the consequences coming to you. You know. All right, so.
And Derek, what was the role of Derek?
Derek is the boys' home. Now Derek's interesting to me because I caught up with the story of John Stewart, who did the Whiskey A Go-Go. Now you want to do some research on that. Now the Whiskey A Go-Go was covered up by the police doing an incompetent action that night and killing 15 people, right? This is Australia's first mass murder in Brisbane, 1983, 2nd of August, 2:08. VIPs everywhere in this club, our VIPs from those days. Big band, you know, all these sort of things that have actually had to be squashed because they wanted to blame somebody else who was on the Gold Coast at the time. So Joe Bjelke-Petersen came out as the Premier and said, they are crims, they are the ones that did it, not before, not before a jury, not before a judge.
Yeah, see, it's just an interesting thing of that being there, right when I'm saying that the Port Arthur shooter, like, was...
Martin Bryant.
And it was all fake. And it could have been, the whole thing could have been a false flag. Maybe nobody even died. Like, it could just be a ritual. Yeah, it could have just been a ritual, and the guy was a CIA MK Ultra assassin. But in the articles, it was interesting. They were saying he had satanic accuracy. It was like he had a supernatural accuracy.
Not before anything, you know, broke the law, right? But of course he's an FM, you know.
But
we
also
never get away with it.
Queensland was a police state back then,
No, he was a police state after that. There wasn't a police state before that.
wasn't it?
No.
After that.
No, they had to make it a police state after that because they just had to cover it up. Because actually who did it, in my belief, is Rogerson and McNamara. Now, Rogerson and McNamara in your bin down there in Long Bay.
Yeah, two of the people who don't know are watching the show, you can look them up. They're some of the most dirtiest, you know, people involved with police in New South Wales and Australia, yeah.
Well, Rogerson ran the pedo brothels, the boy brothels in King's Cross. So he ran child trafficking in Sydney. Basically, he was the kingpin, you know, criminal thug behind it all.
Connected right into all that. He had his finger in every single pie. It was just connected.
Yep. Every single victim that I've spoken to, I've spoken now to so many boys who are prostituted in that area from the boys' homes like Darrick and Minder and all this. They all name Rogerson. Everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So Rogerson came across my path because I was looking at Westbrook, which is a boys' home in Toowoomba, and this is where Stuart and all that. So you know the stuff that's going on in the Northern Territory. Well, that was going on, but obviously a lot of sexual abuse as well.
The detention centre.
But the alignment was when they came out that they actually were going to get verbal or forcefully arrested, so the criminal record would keep building. And I met these individuals, you know, 30 years after they've had this shit happen to them, they've had to be a criminal all their life because the coppers couldn't be bothered doing their own time for their own crime. So McNamara threatened to kill me, so I've got that. That was in a court case, and I had for the conspiracy. Now, do I know who's a killer? No, I thought I was the only killer in the room. I go, what's he doing? He sent everybody out. We're here by ourselves. But, you know, if I knew he was a killer, I might have a different attitude. But no, I was pretty staunch. And, yeah, just walked over the top of him, you know, back into the room. And you know, that's to me, I am going to be totally honest about that and say, I did not know who McNamara was when he threatened to kill me back in those days. I know who he is now because I saw a photo of him going into Long Bay. That's how our life works. We have to keep going backwards to actually get that connection.
And Tim, just to clarify, the court case was an attempt by the government to set you up as a criminal, and you won that case. Yeah?
No,
is that the one?
It was an attempt by the police.
The police.
Yeah. The police were training over in the west with submachine guns, right? So when I went to my court case and they raided me, when the magistrate asked me what weapons did I have, and I said Uzis, he went, what? I said Uzi, I'll describe it, I'll break it down for you, I'll show you the measurements of the apartments, right? And he's going, police carrying Uzis, bang, that was it. You know, my court case was finished. I was acquitted at that point, but I've got to sit there now for another 2 days of constitutional law that no one knows about.
Wow. Yeah, 'cause I didn't know that myself. I mean, I knew that police obviously didn't have automatic weapons and they didn't use them like that. But that was obviously a major thing. That was against the law. That was totally,
That's huge.
wrong. Yeah.
And the way they want to cover that up, they won't
Yeah.
cover it because I hunt. I hunt people who are children. They're not going to cover
Yeah.
stuff for me anymore.
Yeah.
And as I said, everything's evidential in my world. You can actually find out the. Well, I had Johnny Howard's crew not allow me to have a lifestyle for 3 years because I was asking Veteran Affairs for help after the choppers fell out of the sky in '96. But prior to that, that's 15 lads on you know. But prior to that, 3 of my best mates, when the boys were doing the reconnaissance for the exercise, I was informed, 3 mates are dead. So on my head, and I just am honest with people, right? When my world goes from black and white to grey, and that's good understanding what PhD feels like. You can get flooded, you get swamped.
So, what? Just to clarify, Tim's now talking about the helicopter that went down in Townsville about 20 years ago, was it? And had all your mates on board, yeah? Yeah.
2 choppers.
2 choppers went. Oh, they crashed, didn't they?
Yeah.
And you think there was something sinister about that?
No, just dumb officers, mate.
Oh, okay.
Dumb pilots, dumb generals. Generals not thinking.
Hey, there's no conspiracy here. They were just dumb.
Yeah, they're just dumb. Yeah, if you've got a conspiracy, mate, you really have to work out what's going on. No, they're just incompetent, and they can't help it. I mean, if I don't know what you do, but let's just look at a lawyer. All right, if a lawyer goes through a university, they're not going to be actually thrown up in front of the big boys to actually deal with the QCs and all that until another 10, 15 years, right? You expect them to get that nurturing and that understanding of their position and their profession, right? Not the army, no. We just take it straight out of school. We put them up with a sergeant in the infantry. We actually hold their hands to teach them what they've got to know there, and it's just illogical. And the amount of abuse that's gone on in these academies, you could shut them down for 5 years and just employ people who actually have got 4 or 5 years military experience. Might be a good idea. Who's the actual leaders? And it's the only thing across the board, right? If you've got a dentist, yes, you need a professional officer. If you've got an engineer, yes, you need a professional officer because they've got the brains to be an engineer. But putting people through 4 years of teaching them how to be a soldier, you can't do it unless they're actually being a soldier. Right? So ultimately, yes, there's an issue with myself regarding how I was treated by the officers, but the boys in the West, I remain loyal, trustworthy, and honest to them, and have done exactly the same to me. So is this connected with FMs? I don't know, but I do know that.
Likely, yeah.
I know my life has been disrupted. Why have they disrupted it? Why did I have to have a criminal record when I clean bloody military record? This is my whole thing.
Design.
It has been designed to make sure I haven't got a voice.
It could very well make sense. I mean, the Australian military is based off Freemasonry. I think they have their own Freemasonic lodges. I mean, you get advanced through the ranks if you're a member of that.
Of course you do.
Yeah, of course. And that's how it works. And, I mean, they need to keep secrets. Military just by itself crosses over with military intelligence really closely. So it's all about secrets. It's all about, who's got the most information, who can one up the other person. And it's about power. And that's what Freemasonry is. It's about
we don't relay our social clubs, which all they are. I mean, I went to the Royal Commission well before everybody else did in regards to calling for it, and I had to be in front of APEC, Rotary, Lions, Zonta, Probus, all people motivated to get a Royal Commission in this country.
And all those groups are
Did
connected.
the FM's my father's social club invite me?
No.
If I was a good boy, I would have been one of them by now.
Yeah, we'd all be rich and famous now if we'd just agreed to kill and rape kids, Tim. Yeah, there's something wrong with
that.
Yeah. Now back to Darrick, because this is so topical in the media at the moment.
Darrick has big steel gates back in those days, and big stone squares holding the gates up. Okay, you drove up, and the accommodation was on the top, and their farms and their fields were down there. Now, my memory of Jones, Lewis and Singleton at Darrick on social outings, +123, right, is, as I told the police, they weren't there. They took boys from there and myself to homes, to sexualities, which are supposed to be under the guise that we are having a time out with the boys and we're doing the best thing for them, but they weren't. They were just raping us. So you can't keep understanding people who want to keep protecting these people. Stop protecting personalities. It doesn't matter.
And this is why, I mean,
They have no impact on you.
And there's also there's other people who've come forward at Darrick with the same experiences that how the VIPs came in there, and people can look that up. Fiona's covered that, and I mean, this is the thing. There's so much guilt there by these people that they're doing everything to cover it up, and they know they're stuffed when someone like Tim comes out, like yourself, and exposes them. And it's just, with all the other people that have come forward, I mean, everyone needs to ask themselves, why isn't anything being done?
Well, I'll give you confirmation for the listeners. I actually do realise I'm on radio now. I'll give you confirmation. with Darrick, I've have found that I've actually been very not only protected, but given education, and people's experiences have given me education that's allowed me to sort of piece things together. Now, my first sponsor in a 12-step program actually stabbed my father. He was getting raped by him and he stabbed him, How do you find that person in the world? But I'm sure I could find him, you know what I mean? Yeah. We as people who go through this stuff, if we keep committed to keeping children safe, the universe just keeps giving us enough information to not sure if we're not going to get done, but also enough information for the public to start to get educated that you don't have to believe in these people. They're billionaires. They stole $1 billion of Australians. They haven't done anything else. That's all they've done.
And they're just drug traffickers, like Kerry Packer was just a heroin trafficker,
I'm not putting my name to that.
I am.
I can teach you clean that.
Just go, oh, that's interesting.
No, well, because it's.
Why does he have to be so...
Because it's gone through court.
I'm not putting my name
but
to
because
it.
it's all legal, this is why. And it's good though that they do, they've got both of their stories straight. He's not gonna say anything that he doesn't know.
Yeah, but
anything.
She's listening to his story and trusting him, and he's just like, no, I'm not putting my name to that.
Well, because he doesn't know. They have to clarify.
There's stuff he's gone through. She doesn't go, I'm not putting my name to that.
Well, but the thing is, you should clarify, because if someone does say...
oh, really?
Well, if someone claims that he said this, he can say, no, you can see in the video I clarified. You're too stuck...
No one's going to be watching this video going, how can we prosecute
You're too
him?
stuck on semantics. Yes, I know that he's saying, he's not putting his name to it, but that's fine. You should see what else he's going to say in the next 40 minutes.
Play it.
He's going to drop the biggest bomb.
I think that's on Wikipedia.
Drugs don't affect abuse people. No.
Now, there's another story, isn't there, and which I remember you telling me, which is the brother that was fostered from Darrick, who went missing one day.
No, we're going back. We're going to Ballarat.
Oh, that's Ballarat. Oh, God.
Once again, I'm in Sydney, where you are. Fucking cold down there, isn't it?
Oh, it's freezing.
Yeah, so we're in Ballarat, and all the Pell things going off, and the Ballarat, da-da-da-da-da. My old man and Pell probably kissed each other. That's how much they liked each other, right? I won't worry about it. I know.
Pell kissed a lot of
we see big Pell moving around, mate. Don't you worry about that.
I'll just say, I don't know if you know this, but I'm in contact with some victims who are Pell victims, and the police are taking their witness statements against Pell being a pedophile himself. And these guys have been told by Victorian police that they've got him, they've got Pell, they're inundated with victims coming forward for the last, since it was, well, not just then, but since since a couple of weeks ago, when two guys appeared on 7:30 report or something, talking about being raped by Pella's kids. So since then, so in the last couple of weeks, they're just inundated. They've just got no room. You know, they've got such a lineup of guys to make witness statements. But go on, Tim. Yeah.
All right, so my brother was born in Ballarat. Nice bit of evidence. I mean, yes, I was taken away from the home, but I don't think I missed out on my brother being born. So I'm in Ballarat. At 3 to 4, I'm in Ballarat. Now, this shit starts at 5, and they won't go, they may even go earlier. It depends on how sick they are. But the law back in New South Wales, where we were, was that children could not give evidence after 10 years old, before 10 years old, right? That's changed. The Sex Crime Unit of New South Wales, praise them. Absolute, full-on, thank fuck, there's some fucking coppers out there that you can actually believe in.
And there's good coppers out there, and I've spoken to them.
There is, great coppers.
They're not all infiltrated. And they're so frustrated, aren't they, working with all these
You know who I know a good cop? He's the one who smiles at me and waves at me because he's happy about what I'm doing. You know what the big one does? He just snarls. You know what I do to his snarl? I walk past him and go, thanks for the energy, I'll use that wisely, and walk off.
That's great. That's great that you can be able to do that.
I want this fight, you know. I want this fight. Too good for
They
them.
must hate that. They must hate that. Yeah.
Oh, they love us. So Ballarat.
All right, Ballarat. Right now, this is interesting. Back in the old days, and I'm going to put this in a category of fundamentalist Christianity, right, which is what I was brought up in. Within the fundamentalist Christianity,
with Gordon Moyes.
Oh no, it goes right back to the Genesis.
Oh, right.
And people need to understand this. This is where their purity comes from. They actually believe they're allowed to in the Bible, because how the fuck did our population begin without incest and pedophilia?
Well,
Cain killed Abel. There's only 2 boys and a girl left. That's the purity of it. That's what they believe. The fundamentalists.
But just
they're entitled to rape you because it's in Genesis.
Well, there's with Gordon Moyes.
Okay, we're going back to Ballarat, right? Ballarat, 3 years old. So how long was I there? 5, maybe. Maybe I started earlier. But I was born in Yallourn, right? Which is quite a difference. Like you've got Melbourne here, Yallourn here, Ballarat here, right? So it's a bit of a difference where I was born. But that's obviously a melting pit for Pell as well. With my old man Pell. Now, they used to farm out the foster kids to the Christians, right? This is the question, not only for the FMs, but also for the Ballarat community, for anybody who wants to understand that my little brother Joey, who's probably 2 years older than me, who's 5 in Ballarat, is missing. I asked my mum in the past when she's been crying over his photo, where is he? Where's Joey? Oh, he went back. Now, if the Social Security records want to actually prove that to me and then introduce me to my foster brother they took away, then I'll behave myself. But presently, you're looking like another child's gone missing in this pedophile ring. Joey Horswell was his name. So we leave Ballarat. Ballarat's filth. Right? Okay, so we're in Ballarat. We now move to Queanbeyan, Canberra, back and forth. Now you got Canberra, different state.
I was abused in Queanbeyan.
Queanbeyan, New South Wales legislation. In the future, Gordon Moyes, the pus has taken his life because I'm on his ass. Has written legislation for the New South Wales because he's a New South Wales legislator. So if you
understand who Gordon Moyes is, I'll just clarify. He was an evangelical, so-called Christian pastor, and I actually knew Gordon Moyes. He used to come up and do these crusades. He used to travel the country doing crusades, and he came up to Tweedhead's Church of Christ, which I call Tweedhead's Church of Satan because it was infiltrated completely by Freemasons. Yeah, so it was just they were all on the board. The pastor was good at the time, Maury Pieper. He was actually a genuine guy, and the church got rid of him, sacked him because they didn't like the fact that he was actually preaching the Bible properly. So they got rid of him. But it was around that time when Maury People was there that, I had lunch with Gordon Moyes, and he used to come up and do these crusades and everything. And he was held within Church of Christ and other, denominations, Protestant denominations. He was hailed as this great, respectable man, but he's one of he was just nothing but a kiddie rapist.
Well, here's my mate. My father's mate, an FM, no doubt, and he didn't need a ritual. He didn't need a building. He just got me over to his place because they were fixing up cars doing rallies back in those days. And I get raped just inside the room inside the laundry, not the laundry itself because people would hear. But they're very effective in what they do. You normally gag before you even get anywhere, So that's the first thing they're going to do is shut your mouth up if you're going to go through that.
And Gordon Moyes, he, under the guise of the church, purchased 2GB radio station in Sydney.
He stole it. They're good Christian men, these men. He stole it, right? And then he was sweating, so Singleton took it off him, right? Now, Singleton's been sweating since I decided to turn up and tell the truth, right?
So, yeah.
And he's actually... I went to the Sydney Morning Herald to tell my story. I like to pass USBs over. But once it's in, it's in the cloud. It's like, you idiot.
Can't burn the clouds.
And they want to see what's in there, So it's like, it doesn't matter. There's a perfect way to get it in the cloud. And I do it for the future kids, mate. I do it for future adults who can actually go to the cloud and go, you can't say that. It's all evidence.
But let's just have a quick overview of who works at 2GB radio station and who has. So it was bought by Gordon Moyes.
No, he stole it from the church.
It was stolen by Gordon Moyes.
Yeah.
And then it was sold to John Singleton.
No, it wasn't sold. It was just passed over.
It was passed over to John Singleton, another one of your perpetrators. Yeah. And then commentators at 2GB have been John Laws. Gordon Moyes was a commentator
plus
there.
4.
Announcer. Alan Jones is an
plus
announcer.
3.
And who's the other one? We're missing one.
So we've got Alan Jones.
Roger Clemson. Roger Clemson. He was also at 2GB Radio. If
you want to link up to these people, right? Do you remember the carbon copy books? Have you ever seen them in your lifetime? You fresh young face, young man.
Yeah. He doesn't know that. Don't worry, he doesn't know.
With a carbon copy,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The carbon copy there. Right, he had 6 books.
In the old days, Steve.
He had 6 books. All right, 6 books of Law's letters. That's why the police can't go anywhere because they only have to prove that was done. Yeah. And if you've got 6 books, you only have to find, Mrs. Laws or Mr. Uncle Laws or whatever, So to say, yeah, we saw that, bang,
And what were these letters? What was in these letters?
Right, now...
What's he talking about? I find his testimony quite hard to follow.
No. It's just because they're going through it so quickly. So like he's found a bunch of his his dad's letters and stuff like that, which they always do. Like it's a weird thing of why would they document it so much only to blackmail other people and stuff like that.
You don't say anything about me because I've got
records
stuff on you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like
they're covering their own asses.
This is why I could just cut through a lot of this stuff because I think
6 books.
This is them.
What was he saying?
This is
6
them.
books.
This is them talking about getting traffic to the Parliament houses and things like that, and then probably about here in the video. That's when they start talking about the court cases that he got and them giving him a payout, but none of them get convicted. And maybe actually, because this is probably a good place to pause.
I'd love to know
pause testimony.
Why they didn't get convicted?
You know why? Because they're the people.
They're
going to convict themselves.
Explain how they do nothing.
Alright, yeah, I'll skip to this. This is what I'm saying.
Explain
I'm going to just jump to these little sections because you can see where they've got. There's the Theosophical Society. Look at that symbol right there. That should tell you fucking everything.
The snake.
A Nazi Star of David with a snake eating its own tail.
And a cross with a circle on it.
Yeah, and that's the Theosophical Lucifer, a Theosophical magazine. But it was, Helena, whatever her name, Blavatsky.
Society, in my opinion, and what I've researched, that's a Luciferian organisation. It is based on Freemasonry. It is highly occult. It is connected into all the occult.
And then this is them getting traffic to Parliament
The
houses
heads
and
of satanic organisations,
lodges.
all these dodgy groups meeting there. And it's very interesting because it was actually created by a guy.
That's the Hindu. I forget what it means, but like, yeah, it's like merging all these religions in one. There is no religion higher than truth. The truth that they worship
And this
Lucifer.
was the guy that
and
ran the boys' home.
Or this is just the 33rd. Yeah, probably actually.
He was obviously the head of the Theosophical Society at that time. He was Charles Webster Leadbeater, and people can look him up. He was a pedophile, and he was into black magic, and he was initiated into satanic organisations. So you got this pedophile Satanist who created the area or the company and part of the Theosophical Society that housed 2GB and created it with the sole purpose of theosophizing Australia, basically propaganda out there for people to worship everything else but Christianity.
And support the
that
pedophiles.
Yeah,
They're media. They are media enablers. And I took that term from a top journalist in America who feels shame that they didn't report on the Cosby rapes many years before, Cosby was charged. And he said, we have been, Cosby media enablers. And 2GB are VIP pedophiles, media enablers.
Bro, this is why you don't want to have the Bible conversation. You don't want to have the Christian part of this conversation. But I'm telling you straight up, modern day Christianity, what we think is like all these denominations, Pentecostal, whatever, all a cover up for Satanism and all of these pedo rings, adrenochrome harvesting rings.
Anywhere they can get their hands on children easily.
And anywhere where they shut down the conversation on it. Mum, if they don't want you to have...
like
Mum,
dogs.
if they don't want you to have this talk about them, if I can't talk to my pastor about this subject, what do you think my pastor's doing? Fucking gatekeeping the conversation. No, shut up. Don't mention the pedo rings. Don't mention the Freemasons. Don't mention Satanism and adrenochrome. Shut up. That doesn't exist. Just love Jesus. See, this is all brainwashing, mind control. And when it gets down to it, they don't care about what's really going on. They're not doing anything to stop anything real. Just do deliverance prayer and just sing hymns to Jesus. Everything will work itself out. No, it fucking won't. And they're shutting the convo down. Do you know what I mean?
And that's the same as ABC Media Watch. That's the same.
You've got Alex Jones on there still today, and he's been outed as a pedophile for how many years? I mean,
Alex Jones.
letters to...
What about you? He was charged in England. He was charged in England for procuring a 14-year-old kid in a toilet or something.
Like, it's the same thing with Hillsong just being a money laundering operation. It's like, look, I do not care to expose myself, like, to not expose myself, but, like, I don't care about, me being exposed to this information. Me seeing this doesn't hurt me as much as the victims that actually got hurt and that they need justice. Do you know what I mean? And that's what she said to Deborah as well. Fiona's going, like, people don't want to hear it because it's like, oh, it hurts my ears, you talking about this. And it's like, how do you think us as the victims feel?
That's not why. It's because it's emotionally distressing.
But that's what she said. She goes, so Deborah said her friends would be like, stop, I can't. Like, this is emotionally distressing. She's like, you think you're going through emotional distress. I'm ripping my hair out knowing that they're stealing kids.
But
like,
none of whatever level of distress we're going through, it doesn't change it. It doesn't stop it.
But would you rather go through a little bit of exposure therapy, the tiniest bit of emotional distress, so that you can compartmentalize all this information and then go out and do something? Now that you know. Protest, get around. Yeah, like, I mean, we are. And that's why, like...
This is why we're doing this.
The thing is, it's hand in hand. So, like, us doing this and looking at the info is doing something about it. But shutting the convo down, not wanting to have the convo, just being like, just go to church and shut up, is not, that's doing the opposite. You're letting them get away with it. And that's how I look at everyone that is like that doesn't, anyone that doesn't want to have this conversation, you're complicit. And there's so many people, I'm sure we'll get comments straight away, like, thanks for doing what you're doing, like, you know, we already knew all this, but like, it's just good to have another person support, you know what I mean? It's good to see other people care. Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it too. Like, as soon as somebody gives me, like, opens the door an inch for, like, I actually want to receive some of this info, like, I go hard. I give them everything I know. Do you know what I mean? As soon as somebody actually takes an interest, of course you are going to respond to, like, people actually caring. Rather than everyone else just wants to shut it down. I don't want to have this conversation. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay.
Go away.
28th of July, doesn't say what year.
Like, anyone telling me to shut up about this, I want to tell them, go fuck yourself.
Okay, so 27th of July this year. 28th of July. There's a 13-minute podcast where they're talking about police seizing a loan book.
Who's this?
Belonging to alleged sex offender Alan Jones, which details financial arrangements with a host of Australia's best-known media identities, sports stars and business people.
Yeah, it's everyone, bro.
So that is this year. So that's probably something we should look into.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus, bro. Like, this is what I mean. Like, if people tell me to shut up about this info, like, I want to tell them, like, you should start looking. Like, you should start listening. Instead of telling people to shut up about this subject, it's like, maybe you should shut up and actually listen.
I shouldn't have labelled him Puss Free as my favourite number, you know. Like, he gets to live on.
Oh, he's a rat bag, that guy. And everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
What actually happens now, mate, is that the actual assault on individuals doesn't work, right? It's family. Their wives have got to tell them.
There's literally not enough time in the world to go through all these, but except that I have taken the time and I have gone through them all. I could try and just cut to, here's Lawrence. Let me just see if I can cut to where they're actually talking about this stuff.
Very successful. So many of the models of Tonka toys were actually engineered, designed, structures to see how big, how strong they were.
I think these are victims.
Collapsed. And then they destroyed Mark McMurtry. Moving down was to actually float the Australian dollar. So that
So this is
he
this
could
one. Alan Jones.
The news that is so horrific is that many of the children who have run away and in foster care and all that had been sexually abused to start with by their own siblings or parents or uncles and aunts. So they were already open to that suggestion. So people like John Bell and Bert Newton and Frank Houston and the other many child abusers knew this. So they knew how to be strong enough to actually force the police to arrest him and have him charged. And while the New South Wales him out of jail, you know, how do you leave a cell in one of the most secure of prisons?
You've also mentioned another name, and that's John Avery, New South Wales Police Commissioner.
Outright criminal. But John Singleton was only the front man. John was only did go see the Salvation Army. They would write in their reports. They'll buy your suppliers for your business. Orphanages in Scotland, the uncles, and raped and then returned Monday morning.
Yeah.
So they refused to investigate that, which would have exposed who these uncles were later. So when I mentioned Phil Cook's name to them, mining communities of Wales,
Mm.
and asked her for a coffee if she would like to come for a coffee. And her name, I'm not allowed to mention, but we ended up getting married. And before we got married, though, she confessed that she'd grown up in a cult called the Children of God, and that her father was a man by the name of Amos Nichols.
And we'll get all our friends around us and we'll sing a song together.
What happened is Roger Rogerson would sometimes give the green and red light affairs to the go ahead of all the actions to happen.
Yeah, right.
So if you play it up, you knew you were going to cop it. So what happened to me was one night, it was a Saturday night, it was real late at night, and there was hybrids like George Pell, Rupert Murdoch, Bob Walk, and there was a whole pile of them there that were bidding on me at the night. And then what happened was I got away. Me and Corey got away, and I got shot in the hip bone from it. I got a bullet mark to show that. And then what happened was I was taken to one of these so-called professional doctors that you know about and I know about, and fixed up. So that's the story of that one.
And who shot you?
Roger Rogerson.
Yeah, right. Okay, so tell us about, people don't know about that scene back then when you were young around King's Cross. You know, we hear about Porky's nightclub. Tell everyone about Porky's nightclub. What was it?
It was a strip club.
Yep.
Where women and men would go to enjoy themselves, but downstairs in the underground areas there was a place where they called the kids night nightclub, where if you had money you could pay for a child for the night.
So tell us about that. How many times were you taken there, or from what years?
I was taken there. I was taken there. I can say this. I was taken there from the age of 5 right till I was 14.
Yeah, righto.
And the thing is, I can never change what's happened to me. But
yeah.
But
we can expose the mongrels, can't we?
That's it. Yeah.
So now, Dean, this is the same pedophile ring that abused me, of course. We all know that.
That's right.
A few of us. It's the same one that, you know, I've interviewed Tim Roy. His dad worked at Darrick, and I've interviewed Lawrence just last week, and he is very familiar with this very same pedophile ring. And then we've interviewed Deb, who is her kids were abused through this same pedophile ring. So you also were abused in the boys' homes as well, weren't you?
That's correct.
Now tell me, just briefly go over the boys' homes, because look, everybody that I've spoken to...
Randwick, Darrick, Mindo Cobbin, Yasma, Boys Town, Wentworth Private, all of them.
Yeah, right. Okay. And did you ever witness child trafficking from those boys' homes to the Cross?
I certainly did. You just said Darrick. You got Fatty. You got John Laws and all that sort of people at the time, back in the 70s. I went to Darrick, and I think it would have been 82. I went to Darrick, and that's when it was pretty bad.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now, what other clubs were there in the King's Cross area or locations for child abuse?
Well, as far as I know, the only one that I could recall was Porky's.
Yeah, right, okay. All right. So tell me about some of the other names that were involved in all this rubbish.
You got Bob Hawke, Murdoch, Justice Woods, Justice Collins, Pearl, Packer, King, and the big one is Kidman. Kidman was the worst out of them all. Nicole Kidman's father was one out of them all. Believe me, I tell you that.
Anthony
It was
Kidman.
real bad. Yeah.
So you were saying something about property in association with them.
Yeah. At Liverpool.
And tell me what you knew about Kidman then.
Well, he was a psych, and I used to see him on a regular basis, and he used to drug me up and do terrible things to me.
Okay, and the attempts that you've made to tell the police this sort of stuff, tell us about that. Let's go into just a little bit more detail about that with people.
What's happened is I've gone to quite a few. When I was in custody, I tried to get in contact with police. They come and saw me. They took the statements. Nothing ever happened. They can't find the statements. No one can find the statements. Then I go down to Queanbeyan and tell the Queanbeyan police about it. They don't. No one wants to know about it. No one wants to know about the whole situation and exactly what happened with the nightclubs and also what happened to me when I was an adult. They don't know about it.
And one of the arguments that they have is that they reckon you've changed your story. What do you say to that?
Yeah, right. How can you change the truth?
Well, because because you've got some names in this in this current Child Abuse Royal Commission statement, and they're sort of not taking into account the fact that you were beaten up in prison for making this statement, and that
my life and my wife and my son's life has been in jeopardy since I made these statements. Yeah. And it's just a known fact. And what the criminal justice program done to me and to my wife is unspeakable. They put me out there with people that abuse me, and that they know that is the wrong thing that they do. And then my wife gets hurt, and then I'm on a $650,000 funding a year, and they do not support us. And they told us my wife sold everything to get me away from it all, and she moved me up to Queensland to get me away from it all. I go to jail for breaking a window because I went to hand myself in because I asked them not to touch me. That's the truth on that one.
So what they turn people into is career criminals is what I've noticed. So they've got these kids like yourself that are abused all through your youth. You end up in boys' homes. You end up in the foster system where you were abused, weren't you, in the foster system as well?
That's right. That's right.
Tell us a little bit about the foster system. What happened?
Well, I went to live with a couple called the Fosters, and then that's when the church had come into Friday with George Fell and Monsignor Hatzor here at Castlereagh. And well, I didn't last too long because my foster father David was hypnotising me and trying to do things to me that weren't right.
Just looking at the document about Mr. and Mrs. Foster, and I notice here where we've mentioned before about the 12 tribes. Tell me what the 12 tribes is. That's an interesting term, 12 tribes, that I've not heard of personally before.
What it is 12 people that are syndicate of the Blackwood, the Knighthood, and they had the final say of where you go and what happens to you. Like these children getting killed. There's all sorts of things that happen there, as you know yourself, and not good.
So you're saying child care because of his family not being deemed fit to look after him, and then he was fiddled with in the home.
Does he say about like the boys' town being rent boys?
So he just said Randwick Boys Home in Mittagong. So he was raped there. Then he went to a place in Warrington Park, and the boss used to abuse him and quite a few others in the barn shed there.
Yeah.
So he burnt the place down. Then he ended up going around to his mother's, and then he went to jail after that. So he'd just been abused all his life. He was getting whipped and tortured, sexually abused. So I reckon it was like
anything about
a
MPs?
victim. He was just a target.
Here, search. Can you see MPs, Parliament, like anything? Look, can you search the page for keywords? How long's the statement? Is it massive? How many pages?
It's quite long. Okay. My mum used to sell me to people. Ron Woodham, Justice Woods, Justice Collins, Louis Bayer, and Sam Abraham, who used to run the Cross. A person named Jeff Azzopardi. They just called him Azzopardi. Two girls at the Cross. What's the Cross?
King's Cross.
Okay. He was tortured as well as being used for sex. There was 2 girls with him and then they disappeared. That you witnessed ritual abuse as well and experienced that as
Oh,
a
yeah.
child.
Oh, yeah. Quite a
Is
few
it-
times.
So, is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yeah, it was disgusting, and it was horrible to watch.
And what sort of people were involved in the ritual abuse of children that you witnessed?
The people I've named before.
Yeah, right. You were trying to leave out some of the big names, yeah?
That's correct.
Because you feared for your safety and what would happen
That's correct.
as a result
Well,
of you.
put it this way, after giving the Royal Commissioner a statement, I was bashed and I was put in hospital.
Yeah, right. So it was. So you had a genuine reason to be concerned, didn't you?
Yeah, it's right, because when you say one of the ex governors, the commissioner of the correct services is a pedophile, they don't really like you to talk about something like that.
And that's Ron Woodham, yeah?
Yeah, it's correct.
So you're saying that Ron Woodham, who was the Commissioner of Corrective Services in New South Wales,
Yep,
was a pedophile.
that's correct.
Okay, so yeah, that's not going to go down very well in prison. So they bashed you, did they, as a result of
Yeah.
1982?
suspect people in the theatre and entertainment industry and other, very close with other, some of other, Fiona's perpetrators, like.
We've got PTSD. We feel it as physical pain, and that's what people don't understand. They see someone lying on the street smashed up by a car accident, and they go, oh well, they wouldn't sit over there and go, oh look, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
Create your own reality, make it all go away. Focus on the positive, forget the past, get on with life. You wouldn't do that to someone smashed up in a car accident, but they do it to us. They do it to us all the time, and they withhold treatment from us.
There's just not enough understanding of it because they all want to deny the fact that, mind control exists, that, multiple personalities exist, and that, you can't recall memories, so it didn't happen. I mean, once we get past that, we can really start helping victims get the truth out there.
Once again,
we're starting to do it.
Yeah, and I reiterate that this whole false memory syndrome foundation, which is started by pedophiles in America.
Oh yeah.
And that's a fact. That's a documented fact. You've got, one of the fellows was quoted in a Pedica or pedophile magazine in the Netherlands as saying, pedophilia is a great life choice. So he's one of the key founders of the False Memory Foundation. Now, the people who pushed this false memory stuff, where it started was with the Wood Royal Commission, and you've got the government hired.
I started that. But I had to ask him, but yeah, the actual court case, because it got sent to the ombudsman, and he actually proved that I was falsely arrested. The only thing he didn't prove out of the whole thing was there was excessive force. Now, if there was excessive force and they proved it, well, then the submachine guns would have come out again, So, falsely arrested and conspired against. Now, you know how I found out the conspiracy? Not many people know this, because not many people know about the court case. Every incident statement, when you turn the pages, the T, like that, has a printer error, which makes it like that. I'm just looking through it, and every T is like this in each statement. I'm so embarrassed that he's going,
How did that happen?
Because they met in Penrith, that's why they conspired against me. All of them were completely different groups. There was the bomb squad, there was the military police, there was the tactical response group, now called the state protection group because I changed that. Normal police, and what else was there?
Feds?
No, Feds weren't there. Right. So all of those individuals decided in their own wisdom that they would get together and make sure we got the right story. But someone didn't check the printer.
And so you're saying that you could detect the conspiracy
It was obvious.
through
It was obvious.
because all the documents,
Had the same mistake.
independent documents had the same typo in it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's so easy to to hide a conspiracy in those.
But that comes back to being one of the abuse kids, where they decide it's criminal record time, right? And of course I fought it.
And won.
An abused kid who's an adult, who's obviously, I can guarantee you, I've got no idea. idea what happened during that trial.
Didn't you end up in a scuffle with some guard or something?
No, that
the
was
one?
McNamara. I pushed past him and
Right.
hit his ankle pistol.
Right.
Well, the West, you start trying these things out. You never worn an ankle pistol in the military, but when you're playing in the West, you get to have those sort of luxuries. So there's only a few people sort of, ended up being covert. So we would cut their ankles and make sure they knew the pistol was there. There was no Hillsong. There was no Hillsong in the Assemblies of God. There was a hill. When did they put the name? When did they do the name change? And did they do a family name change? Because they have done a family name change, and it's Hill. The latter.
That people have come forward and they mention ritual abuse or mind control or child sex trafficking. At some point, the government plays a big role in being involved in it or either enabling it somehow.
How do you do that when the Australian public voted the top FM into the top job?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not pulling your eyes over this one. I'm giving you the facts, right? This mug has walked out after the first spill, before the county's been taken, right? All excited, walks up to Bilby, we'll call him, right? And throws out his left hand. On national TV, only shown once on the ABC, as usual.
Freemason shake.
Right, so what happened there is that he's actually got to a point now where every Freemason in Australia
was one of the first operatives of the American military into Vietnam. He appears in the Sunday program on the 28th of November 1998, complaining that they wouldn't give him all his money back, even though he was the main witness.
Like this, if you gave a statement.
And after we did, and after my ex-wife gave her evidence about everything, and she was fingering some very dangerous people, everyone from the head of DOCS, Department of Community Service, as these were men who'd had sex with her as a child.
Who was the head of DOCS at the time?
I'm not sure. He was the head of DOCS on the Central Coast. He wasn't the big bloke. He was the head of DOCS on the Central Coast.
Oh, yeah.
And they send most, when the children do escape, they send most of the children to the Central Coast because it's a protection area for the pedophiles.
Yeah.
And they protected by a man by the name of Les Darcy, Professor Les Darcy.
Know that name.
Professor Les Darcy is the head of the mental health unit at Gosford.
The pedophiles.
Will expose this about your past. And just, it's only coincidence, isn't it, that to help the victims, even though this man, Mark McMurtry, had never spoken to any of us. Not after keeping children safe, they're after having access to them to be able to. So he had to protect his treasurer, Peter Costello. He had to protect his Peter Costello's brother, Tim Costello, who runs a very big charity, because they had all the money. They tried to send the Australian, Bob Hawke to try to bring them undone, had to float the Australian dollar. Because what they were doing is they were putting all the money into charity accounts in Australia, which was set up by Phil Cook. People. And when Bert Newton was, and many of the people who... Frank Houston was a pedophile, but this is what I'd like to know is that, who it was within the Macquarie investment industry who financed him when he was released from jail for raping a boy for pedophilia. Jail, he was not there. Arena was standing up with Mark McMurtry and Kidman from his heroin overdoses. Bondi, who Kate Fisher had relations with before. Who was it I was talking about, Fiona? There's so much in my head.
Oh, you were saying Ray Hadley's son was a New South Wales player.
It was through my confidence that I was aware of people like that. Used several children. The cases like Alan Jones, the cases like Liberace. The Aboriginal legal aid service, the Aboriginal lockup service, because they're not there to represent the Aboriginal people in law. They're there to represent the law to Aboriginal people within their courts. And yet the wording of it makes it sound as if they're there to represent the Aboriginal people within courts. And yet it's taken over 15 protection. So they latch onto the first person who acts nice to them.
So, well, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I need a beer or something.
And they were the two main investigators for the Wood Royal Commission later on.
Anybody to testify publicly who had the real dirt on Hillsong and Frank Houston and child trafficking and
Frank Houston was for this because they covered it up. Where was the bloke from Hey Dad hiding? Was controlled and court case, so that unless you were involved in it, you would not see that this court case was the elite had been withdrawn from the Wood Royal Commission, and so he was handpicked to cover up the links between the House of Lords in England and Australia, because many of the House of Lords used to use Australia as a stepping stone into the pedophile networks within Asia above Australia. So they used to actually have pedophile tours, snuff tours, all sorts of horrible stuff. So while I gave because I given my evidence to Graham Tremblay and Greg Sullivan, I thought, they're going to bring it all undone. However, our evidence was that controversial that rather than produce us to the Wood Royal Commission, they removed us from it and naked. Johnny Young took this show from France, because he was a member of the Children of God, went to Channel 9 in Sydney and made a show called Young Talent Time. Now, the Young Talent Time academies for performing arts were a grooming point for having access to children who were talented, and they used to use manipulation and blackmail. Got together that all of a sudden all the jigsaw pieces started to fit, because she filled in all the little spaces, covered it all up, because it was such a thing. Because many of the magistrates were child abusers and involved in the Wood Royal Commission, and were named in the Wood Royal Commission under the other evil pedophile connected person, Prime Minister John Howard. Week, several in a row, that the New South Wales police New South Wales government had hired, and Bob Carr molested them, raped them.
Okay, I think.
And then the father came back. His kids told him, and it was all put under a parliamentary privilege. Instead, compensation was paid, and it was all cut.
I think we've found, like, he's talking about the Rent Boys here. I've got the transcript. Okay, Bob Hawke. Kicking myself because I'm absolutely adamant. I remember when I first listened to these, like I was playing Watch Dogs, and bro, I just remember them mentioning they trafficked Rent Boys to like one of the Parliament houses. And bro, I remember it was yesterday, bro. Them saying Bill Shorten and like a bunch of dudes were trafficking Rent Boys to like Parliament House, like one of the houses in Parliament House. Maybe it was Tim Roy, and I just haven't let him get around to it, bro. I think it was Tim Roy, bro. I should have just let him go. Oh, you know what it is? There's two different ones. This is a different interview with him.
And we'll sing a song.
Is this a different interview with him?
Better tell everyone who
But
what
hang
his
on,
name
hang on,
is.
hang on.
Well, I haven't introduced him.
No, that's the same one. Alright. Yeah, has this got a transcript? Let me find this on the transcript, ready? Because if I search it on the page, this is why I should have just done my own. Step by step, ready?
Should we pause?
Ready. Control F. Yeah, we'll take a break if I can't find it. Bro, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find the interview of them saying Bill shortened traffic to rent boys to Parliament. But hey,